Welcome to I Still Call It a Lariat. This is a pro wrestling podcast. This is our WrestleMania review episode. With me, as always, my hetero life mate, Mr. Showtime, Michael Wright. How you doing over there, Showtime?
Oh, you know me, Steven. I'm living the dream.
So, as I just said, this is going to be our WrestleMania review episode. A lot of cool stuff happened in WrestleMania. This was WrestleMania 40, Philadelphia. Huge crowd, huge matches, lots of storyline. Before we get into anything wrestling related, though, I do want to go into some stuff. I want to throw a shout out to another podcast that has become a new friend to the show. It's called Coal Mind. We will definitely have a link for it in our bio or in all of our information. The other thing I would like to get into is, so not to give too much information about us, but it is mine and Showtime's birthday coming up this upcoming week. For my birthday every year, I like to do a nonprofit drive, usually for something cancer related. This year, I will be doing it again. It is for the group. I'm wearing a hat for it right now. It's called Tap Cancer Out. I'm going to show the bottle. I will also have the link for that. It helps with quite a few different organizations, John Hopkins, just a couple different ones. It is a great organization. It's a jiu-jitsu competition that benefits cancer victims, cancer survivors, things like that. It's such a great organization. I did the competition last year. I'm not sure if I'm competing this year because I'm a little fat and not in the best world right now to do a jiu-jitsu competition, but it is still a great organization that I think everyone should help out with. So I'll have the link for that along with the link for Coal Mind as well with our social media accounts. Other than that, let's get right into some wrestling news. Around the world, we've got Nick Nemeth. He will be challenging for two essential world titles in the next couple of weeks. First, he will be challenging Moose for the TNA World Heavyweight title on April 20th at Rebellion. And then he will be challenging Alberto El Patron, also known as Alberto Del Rio in the WWE, for the AAA Mega Championship. Again, we've talked about this. This is big. This is Nick Nemeth, formerly known as Dolph Ziggler, kind of creating his own Triple Crown Championship, which is such a cool thing because he's doing it a lot more organically than I've seen other people trying to do it. He's literally just going to different promotions and trying to win the titles, which is pretty cool. What do you think on that one, Showtime?
Yeah, I dig it. I'm looking forward to both of these matches. So definitely check it out, guys. Put it on your calendar. I know a lot of people listening. It's obviously WWE draws in a lot of the ratings. AEW is number 2 in line, and then sometimes it's everybody else. And the people in the independents really trying to make a difference there, trying to bring wrestling to the next stage. I see a lot of the changes in wrestling come from wrestling in front of 25 people in a gymnasium or a VFW. Obviously, Nick is doing bigger shows than that, but at the end of the day, what he's doing is really cool. It's different, and it focuses more on the wrestling, which is something that I'm really excited about. And the storyline makes sense, right? Like it's his own kind of redemption arc of his own choosing, his own build. So I've been excited from the very beginning. So go, Nick, crush it, and we're all rooting for you here.
Let's see him do it. I can't wait for the next couple of weeks. There's a lot of big wrestling coming up, even post-Mania now. Moving on from around the world to, I guess, what would be considered the number 2 promotion in pro wrestling. That would be AEW. Lots of cool stuff going on. Tony says in response to CM Punk's interview on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, he's going to release the footage for Wembley. I've heard different scenarios on this, that it's a shoot. I've heard that it's a work. I've heard that it's going to be, he's going to show something and it's just going to be Jack Perry pops up finally. I don't know where they're going with this one. I don't know if they're doing this just because it feels a little bit like a bitter ex-girlfriend type situation to me, but that's just me. Showtime, what are you thinking on this one?
I have quite a few thoughts on this, just trying to make sense of it all. So rumor has it, like in the rumor mill, Tony's wanted to release this for a while now. People advised him against it. This interview kind of sparks his juices to share it out. If this is all real, I'm going to break this into compartments and just try to make sense of it. If this is all real, then that footage better be like damning footage. Otherwise, you do just look like a petty asshole. If it is CM Punk just going nuts and he just looks like a complete jerk, then he really poked the bear knowing they have this information. Tony and team were cool enough not to throw all his dirty laundry out and are only responding to it. The second area for this is, which is kind of where I hope it lands, is this is just a big joke. Think back of like DX dressing up like other people just to make fun of them, like the Bucks dressing up like CM Punk, and going over the top to build storyline around it. The lines between organizations are now blurring more than ever. We'll get into the Mania stuff, but they showed the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega in some of the vignettes there associated to Cody. So those lines that these people don't exist anymore have changed. So I could see that being a fun way to kind of poke back at it. Like, we don't take ourselves too seriously. They kind of bring Jack Perry back in. So that could be fun. So that's kind of where I'm hoping. The third and very, very unlikely situation is that both organizations are working together. On the Pat McAfee show, Triple H, Paul, said that he doesn't have any competition right now. He was talking about how they're just competing against themselves, like they're competing against the Attitude Era. They're competing against the Ruthless Aggression Era. And when he's talking like that, he's really building himself up above and above and above AEW. And then letting CM Punk go on the MMA Hour and going completely off script. I know this is a new regime and everything, but I know that the post one never would have let that fly. And I find it hard to believe that the WWE right now is like, God, just air all the dirty laundry. Let's just bury them. Because it doesn't help the WWE. It only brings spotlight and eyeballs to AEW. So in a weird, bizarro world where all these guys are like territories rather than, I don't believe that guy exists, it's just the boogeyman over there, I could see this building to something cool where maybe they do have a inner promotional pay-per-view that ends up happening, or this is to build heat between the two of them until Tony and Paul go head to head and really put themselves on a map where they take wrestling to a new level, to a new extreme, or whatever you want to call it. So that's, I feel like fantasy booking, that's wishful thinking maybe to a certain degree. So not saying I believe
definitely think that's wishful thinking.
But it's more like these are the three scenarios that I see any even grain of sand of possibility of it happening or being the reason of it. I'm really hoping it's the middle one, because if they just release a dud CTV or like, was it closed circuit?
Yeah, CCTV.
Like video of CM Punk, like it's just gonna suck. It's gonna fall flat, and you're just gonna look like a joke. So I really hope that's not the one that it is.
I'm trying to think of how I want to say this. If they release it though, and it's kind of more what Punk said, hey, like I tried to help you out. I tried to make sure that the boss handled it, and if you don't handle it, I'm going to go handle this. If they release the real footage, sake of argument, and it looks like it's kind of just two guys getting into a scuffle, I think this looks worse for Tony and AEW than anything else, right? Like that's especially since Tony's held true to this, I feared for my life situation. So if this is just two wrestlers that got into a scuffle at Gorilla, it kind of, like I said, it just makes AEW kind of look like a bitter ex-girlfriend, right? Like they're mad that he went out and actually aired some of the dirty laundry.
Yeah, we got enough trolls on the internet. We don't need, professionals being the same way. So, like I said, I'm rooting for that middle scenario where it's like, let's put together a great promo where we can make fun of CM Punk, and that'll raise our standard, or at least just entertain people, right? Like, I understand that AEW cares more about putting on good matches, but they should at least care about entertaining their viewers. And if I could poke fun with particularly that AEW crew that doesn't like WWE, and make a big joke about it and be like, we don't take ourselves that seriously, let's just move on, that could be really funny and would be exciting. But I don't know. I have a stinging suspicion that that's going to be category A.
I'm interested. I'm going to watch it. I do want to see it. I'm very interested in what they release. So they've at least done that much of their job, right? They've piqued all our interest in what is going to come out. If it ends up not being good, well, that's kind of on them at that point. But at least we all are probably going to tune in to watch this. Another interesting aspect of AEW this week: Dustin Rhodes, the Natural, the artist formerly known as Goldust, whatever we want to call him. I'm always a fan of Dustin Rhodes, first off. But he issued an open challenge to Samoa Joe for the AEW World Heavyweight title. I think this is really cool. I've been saying that I'd like to see Dustin Rhodes because I know he's on his exit tour right now a little bit. They said he's only got X amount of time left. I'd like to see him go after a world title, whether it be a true world title or something that just has the name world title. I would love it if he went after the NWA World Heavyweight title. I know that they still do have a working relationship with those guys. I think that would be really, really cool to say that the only two brothers and father to win a title are these guys. I think that'd be really cool because I don't see a world where he beats Samoa Joe, especially not the way they're building up Swerve and things like that right now. But maybe I'm wrong. Sometimes I know AEW, Tony, all those guys, they like to work in the shock factor thing. So maybe they make it look like he wins it, or maybe he does win it and it turns into a 3-way at Dynasty, but I'm not leaning that way. What do you think on that one, Showtime?
Well, first of all, in the show doc, you wrote Dustin Roads. Roads? Sorry, I couldn't help the movie quote there.
That's a weird word.
It's a weird word. No, at the end of the day, I actually, I've been thinking about this a lot. This is the reason why I'm tuning in. I will tune in for this, not for this weird footage that they're going to leak, but because I want to see Dustin versus Samoa Joe. And I actually think they put the title on him.
Do you really?
I do. I think there's enough excitement around Cody winning the title for, I think, them to kind of ride the coattails here and have Dustin win it as well. And not that he doesn't deserve it. I don't want to take anything away from him in that situation. I think it'd be awesome if you see two Rhodes brothers simultaneous world champions of two promotions. I could see him also losing to Joe again to give the title back pretty quickly to then face Swerve on a 1v1 or turn into a triple threat. Both those things happen. But I don't like, if you haven't listened or watched this promo that he cuts, it's fantastic. He really goes for it. Sorry, Steven, I know you've seen it. I'm talking to the universe here. And
the world.
The Legionnaires of the Lariat. It's awesome. He cuts one of the best shoot videos. He's been doing really cool stuff online, particularly targeting stuff at The Rock while that was building to Cody's win. And so, I really like the idea of him taking this title down. I would love to see him be a world champion, that we could talk about that he's won one of the major titles. I think that his work as Goldust is insanely underrated. Actually, one of my favorite Mania matches, it wasn't one that we talked about all that much, was the street fight between Piper and Goldust.
The backlot brawl, yeah.
Yeah, I like that one so much because it was a cinematic match. It had its thing, and that was cool. And if you would have kept it at that, it would have been the right segment sort of thing that it fit Mania. That's fine. But then when they made it to the to the arena and finished the match in front of a live crowd. Brilliant. It was perfectly done. The storytelling was spot on for it. He got his ass kicked because everyone wanted to see him get beat up in that situation. And he's done so much cool stuff. He's been a mainstay in multiple major companies, and to not ever win it is a bit of a shame. So I'm rooting for him. I hope Dustin wins this.
I would love to see him do it, honestly. I think he has been doing great work. He's been doing great work for years, decades,
Forever.
literally decades,
forever.
literally decades. When he was the natural originally, and he was the babyface youngster, son of Dusty Rhodes, he was doing great work. He was working with Steve Austin all the time. He was working with Arn Anderson all the time. He was doing great work then, and that was when he was a white meat babyface, and then he became Goldust. And completely shot it outside the box with that. And committed. If anyone ever committed to a character, we talk about The Undertaker committing to that character, and if he didn't, that character probably wouldn't have worked. Can we say anything differently about Goldust in 95? Goldust in 94, 95, if he didn't commit to that, we would never have we might not have seen the Attitude Era the way we did. Like, Goldust is a tribute to the best parts of the Attitude Era, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm a big believer that Dustin Rhodes is one half of the best match in AEW history, and that's him versus Cody. Him versus Cody put on a barn burner. They had all the best aspects of what you want in pro wrestling in that match. So him getting this final chance to get his flowers, to give the fans the chance to see him right at the end. I don't care if he's 50-something. One, he doesn't look 50-something. Two, he doesn't work like a 50-something-year-old. He moves great. He's in great shape. He's healthy. He's sober. That's a big thing. He is finally living a clean life. He's running a wrestling academy, which if you told me I could learn from Dustin Rhodes, yeah, I want to do that. Like, please, like, let me just sit and talk to you for a couple hours and learn stuff. So I agree with you. I think this is awesome. It not like Sock's awesome, like the universe is awesome.
The one thing I just want to caveat, he's been sober for a while now, right?
Yes.
That's not a new thing. So I just want to give credit where credit's due, because I know how tremendously hard that is. And the way you just said it just sounded like he's finally, like it just happened, because he's been on that road to recovery for a very long time, and I applaud that.
Absolutely. I definitely applaud him for that. That is awesome. Like I said, Dustin Rhodes, we are rooting for you. Let's see you do this.
I'm tuning in to watch him win that title.
I want to see him win the title.
And I've been a proponent of Joe for a while now on the show, saying how I like that he's champion there, how I want to see him continue to hold that for a decent reign. A little lost to Dustin and potentially getting it back. I'm under the kind of the purview that I think he's going to lose to Swerve anyway. This could actually make that feud even better, where if Dustin takes it off of him, they can do a triple threat. Dustin's the one that loses it. They can continue that feud with Swerve versus Joe a third time, because the first time Swerve lost the title but didn't get pinned. Now Joe lost the title and didn't get pinned, and now they can do a final blow off where it's 1-on-1. It actually can elongate that cool storyline and kind of see where it goes from there.
I think what you just said would be really cool, and I think it would elongate to basically Wembley at the end of the summer. It would be the perfect way to get us to All In Wembley. Moving from the singles world heavyweight title to the tag team world heavyweight title, we officially have our tag team title tournament final. It is the Young Bucks versus FTR in a complete surprise and shocker. I can't believe they went this route. For anyone who is watching or not watching this and just listening, that is full sarcasm from me, just so you know. I'm laying it on thick.
Sarcasm face.
I think this will be a good match. I think the FTR gets the best tag matches out of everyone, which is also why I always say they're the best tag team in the world. I think the best scenario is, like you've said for 2 months now, Showtime, that FTR wins this and we get the rematch between them and Mox and Claudio. I think that would be awesome. I think all of those things are the best scenarios, but we'll see what comes out of it, right? We'll have to watch it like everyone else.
Yeah, I could see FTR having a couple cool feuds. Like I would like to see them sign the Motor City Machine Guns, right? That's uh, so like have them come in and have a nice little clinic with FTR. Like just let FTR like bring a little bit of respect to the tag team division over there. Put them with some really good teams. Put on some really quality matches. This whole tag team tournament fell a little flat because there was no surprises in it. There was no real contenders except for the two of them. Once they had the Ring of Honor tag team champions lose, I thought they could have been a cool dark horse to come in here and win it. But when they lost in the first round, it was clear who was going to be in the finals.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this was kind of predetermined. Unfortunately, I hate the fact that there wasn't much shock and awe factor in this tag team tournament. Like you said, we didn't see many dark horses. But I am excited to see who comes out of this with the tag team titles. I want to see if maybe this is a situation where the Bucks make their own match stipulation even. I could see that happening. Not because executive vice presidents and board members never do that.
I would do it.
You would definitely do it. You do it sometimes with us now, and you're not even really a board member because we don't have a board.
I am the board.
You are the board. Well, moving on from that to
anyway.
So anyway, do we call this the end of our season or the start of our season? I'm never sure how to use Mania. Should Mania be the end of our fiscal year or is it the start of the fiscal year?
So Mania is the end. The Raw after Mania is the start.
Is the start. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we were in agreement with that because I do feel that wrestling in general, our years move from Mania to Mania. It's the same thing as pro football going from Super Bowl to Super Bowl and baseball going from the World Series to the World Series. I feel like Mania should be the end as well. This is what everything builds to, and then we start building something new the next day. The difference between wrestling and other sports or in other forms of entertainment is there's no break in between. We go right from night 2 of WrestleMania to day 1 of the new season. But
no, I would say I do see a little bit of a break because you see this little hangover in this time frame where they're trying to reset, refigure some of the roster, reset some storylines, bring people back, things along those lines. So this there is a little bit of a restart where things aren't as serious for a hot second because we are coming out of a time where March, beginning of April, it seemed like the world was in peril in the world of wrestling.
Yeah, it was all WrestleMania. So WrestleMania Night 1. This was April 6th. The year was 2024. They were in the city of Philadelphia. I want to bring up something that automatically changes everything that they've done for the last 40 years of WrestleMania. This is something that right off the bat they kicked off with. And no, it's not the cold open. This is the first time in 40 years they didn't do America the Beautiful. It's a big deal. That is a shot right across the bow to let you know Vince isn't in charge anymore. Regardless of anything else that's going on with that man right now, this is now a new regime. We're going to do things a little differently. And right there, that right off the bat, they didn't do America the Beautiful on either one of the nights. And that is it doesn't sound like it's as big of a deal as I'm making it, but I think that's a huge deal. Because when you've done it 39 years previous and you don't do it this year, that means it's the start of something new.
Yeah, it's weird. This whole thing seemed like it was a start of something new, like a transition into something else. I couldn't really put my finger on the word, though they said it 8 billion times that we're in a new era, the Triple H era.
The Triple H era, the Paul Levesque era. The
Paul Levesque, So one of the major critiques I've kind of had for WWE the last couple of weeks at least, and it happened a few times during Mania, is they tell you too much. This is the new era. This is a new thing. And there was multiple times where the announcers would say the words, "There's your WrestleMania moment." Stop telling me this is supposed to be a moment. I tell you what the moments are as a fan. You don't tell me these things. That was the same critique I had with the Chad Gable and Sami Zayn build up to Gunter, right? I loved that they put together the Rocky storyline. I thought it was fantastic. The training montage was amazing, and it got ruined for me when Michael Cole says he's having his own Rocky moment. Well, no shit. I just watched it. I've seen the movies. I haven't lived under a rock for the last 40 years. You don't need to tell me that stuff. Once you tell me that stuff, it breaks the glass a little bit. Like, pretend like this is your own thing. You're doing the most sincere form of flattery by parodying it in this way, and I'm in. But don't point to something else, Megan. That's why we're doing it. And honestly, I don't like. I know I mentioned Michael Cole there. I don't mean to throw shade at him. I don't even believe that he is the one that was the reason why he said it. Like, he probably has in his headphones or those little screens on the table say this is a WrestleMania moment now. Make sure that they didn't miss that slingshot
you need to
of
know.
a person.
They need to know that this is the Rocky story.
Listen, I know what I'm dealing with here. I know what professional wrestling is. But at the end of the day, I'm also not an idiot. Like, let me connect some of these dots myself. You don't always have to tell me. It's my main critique on any movie or show. Literally the entire Star Wars universe right now. They've forgotten that they could show me and not tell me stuff, because everything is a freaking monologue to make sure I know X, Y, and Z happened. Yes, I've seen all the other stuff. Let me just enjoy it. Show me something, and then even if I don't know what that thing is, I'll connect it or give you credit for doing something new and original, even though you ripped it off. So, sorry for the little rant there, but it drives me crazy.
Rant ended.
Yeah. So anyway.
So anyway, back to what we were talking about. Back to your regularly scheduled program. We had the cold open with Meek Mill. I thought it was, again, I always like their production stuff. I really like this. I think this is very, very encapsulating of what their production team has been doing lately. It looks really cool, and it has that feel of what they've been doing, but it also felt very different from what they've been doing. Like, you could feel that they're trying to give it a little bit more of a sport feel. Like, it felt something more like what the UFC would have brought to us, or what Monday Night Football would have brought to us, rather than what WWE has been bringing to us since basically the Attitude Era. And I think that's, again, it goes back to what you said. Even though they keep telling us it's a new era, they show us it's a new era too. And I appreciate that. Like, we know it should be there. They don't have to tell us all the time, but I like that they're actually doing stuff that is different than what they've done for 15, 20 years at least now. Triple H comes out, gives us the welcome to WrestleMania. I would have liked to maybe get a little bit more out of him than that, but I get it. You don't want to.
He's playing the humble leader right now.
Yeah, he doesn't need his flowers right now. He doesn't need his hour. If you notice during the Hall of Fame, Heyman says that he said not to mention him. That's an old Vince thing. Vince never wanted to be mentioned in the Hall of Fame speeches because it wasn't supposed to be about him. And I appreciate that. Like, this isn't my time. This is your time. This is where we give you your accolades. So I get it. I think he is doing all the right things. I think Triple H, for any losses that he's having right now, any L's, I think he's having way more W's with what the product is right now. So say what you will as far as the content goes. I think the content is on the up. We immediately go into match number 1. Rhea Ripley, the Women's World Champion, versus the man, Becky Lynch. Man, I like this match. We've talked about this. I thought this was going to be a good match right off the bat before anything else. But I really liked some of the stuff they did. Showtime. Before I get into some of my points, I'm going to let you get in on this one just to make sure that we both get a chance to shine on this match because I know we both liked it.
Ooh, mommy. I loved this match. For the record, I called this as my match of Mania beforehand. We did the prediction show last week. I believe you and Scarps both picked the Rollins McIntyre match as your match of Mania, and I chose this one. And as I put this on this pedestal, it did not disappoint. I thought this match was an absolute banger. I did the scoring of this like I did with the other top WrestleMania matches of all times. And please, I know that there's some recency bias around this. It just happened. It was nice and fresh where I went back to some of these and I already knew what was going to happen to a certain degree. And this ranked with it like in the same scores as the like 2 to 5 matches. So I think that this match is firmly cemented, probably in my top 10 matches of all times. Knocking out, I think it would knock out Cody Rollins from WrestleMania 38. So this match had everything I ever wanted and more in it. I believe that Rhea is listening to this podcast now because I think she wrestled that match specifically for me, and I appreciate that. I do. She throws
You're a lucky man because mommy loves you.
Yeah, and like fully platonic. I don't want to make any of this sound creepy. I'm a happily married man, but she gets me. And she threw the Northern Lights, which I absolutely adored.
You brought it up because I was going to bring up that it was perfect.
Of course.
That Northern Lights was beautiful.
It was beautiful, and like I've been begging people to do one of those. The one thing that I didn't get in this match, and this is not a complaint. I have one critique to this match, but this is not it. I'm starving for someone to be able to chain wrestle Becky at her speed. And they tried to do it with Naomi at Elimination Chamber when they started that match. And and apologies if I'm wrong here. I'm assuming that Naomi couldn't keep up with Becky. I think that Becky's just on another level than most other wrestlers, male, female, whatever. And I was hoping to get that because I thought the two of them could do it. They didn't. They put on a better match than I was building in my own head. So take it on. My only critique to this match was when she hits the frog splash, the match should have ended, in my opinion. I like the end that they had, but that was when she does the Eddie Guerrero shuffle. She jumps off the top rope for the frog splash. It's a beautiful frog splash. I was like, cool, just end it now. That's exactly what I needed for this match to end. It's brilliant. And then the kick out happens, and then they had a great end of the match. The final seconds of this match were absolutely awesomely done. I can't gush enough about this match. It was a pure wrestling match. It was 17 minutes of the two of these women beating the ever living crap out of each other in a way that was so believable. I was in from start to finish. So I love this. I like, not to spoil the rest of the review of this Mania, but this was the best match of the Mania for me by far. There were some other ones that I really, really enjoyed, but I don't think any of them held a candle to this match.
I definitely think this is match of the night for at least night one, if not both nights, which means I kind of think that Rhea's had match of the night for the last 2 years, right? Like, or match of the show for the last 2 years, because her and Charlotte tore things down last year too.
They did.
I think this was better than her and Charlotte, even because I thought they went in there. This was much more of a fight. Like, this was, I know you said you want to see someone be able to chain with Becky. The only thing is, I'm going to say that this match was not the match that called for that. So
agreed.
So I do want to see it. I want to see someone be able to get in there and actually go hold for hold with Becky at her speed. The reason why I'm okay that this match wasn't it was because that's not what this match was built to. I absolutely love both of their entrances. I think both the entrances in this match were awesome. I actually have it written down here that Rhea may have the entrance of Mania as far as I'm concerned. And that's with a bunch of really cool entrances. I mean, it's Mania. There's always cool entrances, but coming down, I thought Everything looked good. They were wrestling in much, much colder weather than obviously was anticipated. They kept saying what the weather was. It was 46 degrees with the wind chill or whatever just during their match. And that will play hell on your muscles, on your fatigue, on everything. And they still went out there and put on a banger to build off of them hitting that Northern Lights. I also really liked the suplex into this small package back up into the suplex combination.
Oh, I can't believe I forgot to mention that.
It was chef kiss. Chef's kiss.
I popped so hard for that move.
Like it was such a perfect combination how they did it too. Like, oh, she did the kicky feet, swung herself back down, got the small package, kicked out of the small package, held on to the head, picked her back up into the suplex, and it was
deadlifts her. That's dead weight. There was zero jump on that thing. She just muscles Becky back up. It just showed the difference in styles, the difference in everything. I can't believe I didn't mention that earlier. Now I'm mad at myself. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Rhea. I know you're listening.
To give Becky a cool spot, though, I loved I had two spots for Becky that I really liked. One was the move out of the way of the shoulder tackle when she wrapped her arm around there. It's not the arm part that I liked. I liked that Becky just like nonchalantly slams her head into the post afterwards. I thought that was a nice little, hey, like, we're fighting. I'm going to fight you. I don't care if you're bigger, stronger, faster. I don't care that I've been sick for the last week, which they repeatedly told us.
Oh, she was sick?
I would never have known.
She was fighting strep throat for the week leading up to this?
102-degree fever?
Again, show, don't tell. And if you want to tell me that, that's fine. Tell me once. Don't tell me 16 times throughout the match to diminish Rhea's win. Because that's all it did to me was, so she beat Becky when she was down and out. So now we have to have another match. Because I don't think they do. This match was perfection.
Yeah, I think this was great. The other move that I liked, when Becky hit the code breaker to the arm and then went right into the armbar from it, I thought that was really cool. That if there is ever a point where I'm back in a wrestling ring again, I can honestly tell you that move is stolen. That spot specifically, that is stolen. That is, Becky, I'll give you your flowers now. I'm stealing the move. Or I'm going to tell someone to steal that move.
The other thing, I know it's not necessarily new, but Becky's leg drop off the top rope is beautiful. Like it's a really, really strong move. She does it so well. It looks so good. I think she did it 2 or 3 times. Once I think was on the outside. Oh, I have another move I want to now mention now that I mentioned outside.
I know which one you're going to bring up.
Are you going to bring it up? You want me to?
You can bring it up because one of us is going to bring it up. So we're not going to get off this match. We're not going to review the WrestleMania. We're going to review Becky versus Rhea for the next hour and a half.
This is the best match of the night. Why would I spend more? Should I spend more time on? No, I don't want to throw that much shit at anybody in particular. The falling out of the ring with Becky on the shoulders to the electric chair shot on the outside.
Oh, I think.
So the one thing that was awesome. It was such a cool spot holding on to it. Like it did almost look like it was a botch because they were a little clunky, but then when she holds it, it's like, oh no, this is something new and exciting and completely different. I've never seen this before. I'd say it's never been done, but I've never seen it.
I like the fact that it almost looked like a botch. Actually, it makes it draws the realism to it. It makes, we constantly say it suspends disbelief. Well, if it looked like it wasn't supposed to happen, then maybe it wasn't supposed to happen.
Here we are. And then she throws her right back in the ring to win the match. She doesn't wait. She doesn't sit there and let her sit out there for a while. Throws her in there, and that's when she hits the frog splash, which is why it should have ended there. Like, that was the 1-2 punch to end the match. That's my one critique. Hyper being just a giant turd on my own end, critiquing the match, because it's the only imperfection I could find in that whole thing is that I personally would have preferred the homage to Eddie frog splash to win. And what the hell do I know? So that's all. I just want to call myself out in that own situation.
Big ups to the WWE for opening with this match. I said that they were probably going to open with this because they wanted the fresh ring, and they did, and it was so good. I don't think we can talk much more about how good this match was. I mean, we can absolutely.
Yes. So guys, we're going to do a special 3.5 hour episode just focused on this match.
Just on this match. We're
Just
gonna
this
actually gonna we might do a watch along. Actually, we should do a watch along of just this match.
Actually, I would be down for that. The
I
first
would
part
be
was a
down.
joke.
Yeah, it started as a joke, and now I kind of want to do a watch along for this match at one point.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that in a few weeks. So, Rhea wins. I think this was exactly what they should have done. I think they need to keep building her as this dominant champion.
I also think now it's arguably the best opening match in WrestleMania history.
It's up there. Oh, them and Owen and Brett, right? Like, I mean,
based on my rankings, I kind of like this.
Yeah,
again, recency bias. Let me come back to this match in 5 years and see if I still feel the same way. And like, who knows what the significance really is of this match? Like, it's a nice retention for Rhea, but like, is this Becky's last match? No one said it is or not, but no one's talked about anything else. Everyone assumes that she's going to take some time off at least. Like, what does this really mean for Rhea, for this division? I don't really know. So that's kind of just, we won't know until like 5 years down the road.
Yeah, we won't know until we know, right? Like,
yeah.
So moving on from that, we have.
Wait, before you go.
Yes.
So looking at our predictions. So like to go back and kind of call out the predictions of what we did. Surprise, all three of us predicted this one correctly.
This is what was supposed to, this is what should have happened. Not just what was supposed to happen. This is what should have happened.
Don't you think it's weird that Scarps always misses the tallies of the pay-per-view prediction shows? Like, it's like, for some reason he always seems to skip out on this show.
I think it's just because he knows you like making fun of him in person.
Shame. Yeah, I know. It takes away like the fun for me if he's not.
This
here,
isn't as good. Like, he's gonna have to hear this postmortem, something.
It's definitely not postpartum. I like the look on your face. Like, I'm not actually a mean person, but I love to see, just one tear come down.
The Native American cleaning up trash on the side.
It's you know what's trash and Scarps? Like, it's based on his picks.
With that said, match number 2. Let's because we could talk about match number 1 for a very long time.
Do you want
match number 2?
I can go back again and go some more.
Over and over and over again. Match number 2 was the 6-team ladder match. This match was a train wreck, which is exactly what we thought it was going to be. It turned out to be a way to split up the tag team titles, which is also exactly what we thought it would end up being. I would have liked it, and Showtime, you said this originally, so I will give you credit for this one. If they didn't tell us this originally, if this was a stipulation that they added, I don't even want to say that they added in, but if this was a stipulation that was put in the night of, like if they said, hey, the reason why both sets of titles are up is so that you can either retain both titles or different teams can split up and become either the Raw or the SmackDown title champions, And I would have liked them to have done it during the announcement for the rules of the match. And I think that would have been a better stipulation for it.
Have it set up exactly like it was. Don't tell me, like I said, show, don't tell. The 2 titles hanging independently, and then break the news to me from the marvelous Samantha Irvin and have her announce this is for both titles. In order to win, both titles need to be taken down. Now the heat of this match goes from here to here. The stakes have been raised in a Mania type way, and she, like another person I want to gush all over in the most platonic way because I'm just very impressed, is Samantha. She is just a gem, another chef kiss.
She is an amazing ring announcer. Like, she gives you everything you want. I said this before we came on the show. She is what happens when you combine Lillian Garcia with Howard Finkel in all the best ways. Not in a scary horror movie sort of way, just the best ways. She is doing amazing work. I love how she announces different things. I love how she will obviously get to it, but just foreshadowing. I love how she closed out the main event of night 2. It was perfect on her part as well. She is perfect. She is perfect.
Awesome.
She's doing a
Yeah.
perfect job ring announcing. She makes us want to watch the match. She makes every match feel like it's a big match feel, which is what you want on the WrestleMania stage. I mean, plus she's like I said, she's dating that as I heard in another podcast, she's dating that nice Irish wrestler. Yes, Rick O'Shea.
Yeah, I didn't want anything to do with that joke.
Yeah, I know. I'll own that one. All around, like I said, this match was kind of what I thought it was going to be. It was there were some cool clean spots in it. I liked that we got an immediate champion change. Like that was pretty quick that the SmackDown titles got taken down. That was what, less than 5 minutes, I want to say, or it was in that
No, it
five
was
minute
definitely
mark.
longer. It was around the halfway mark.
Was it? Because it seemed very quick. It was kind of one of those things where there wasn't a whole lot of major spots, and then like kind of the first major spot of the whole match was Waller going through the ladder.
This match was about 17 and a half minutes. I bet you that those I'll see if I can find it real quick. But I bet you those first titles come down around the 10-minute mark.
Okay.
So it's more than halfway.
I was gonna think it was like the 5 to 7 minute mark, but I'll go along with that. The winners for this right now, or not right now, the winners for the match were the Awesome Truth. They won the Raw titles, and A-Town Down Under. They won the SmackDown Tag Team titles, which means that right now for our predictions, the only person that is 100% is Mr. Showtime.
Slackers. This one was pretty apparent to me. But so what the first thing I want to say about this actual match is I thought this match was better than I expected. I did think this was just going to be a giant cluster where people were just laying around. And though that happened, the jamokes, as Scarps would say, though that happened, I thought it had a really good pace. I really liked the beginning of this match with them immediately running up the ladders. I thought that was really cool. I thought that the DIY and Awesome Truth kind of standing in the middle of the ring being like, hey guys, like, go for it. We'll go for these ones and we'll be happy. We've been friends this whole time. Why not work together? I thought that was a really cool spot. Ding, fries are done when we see a spike DDT through the table on the outside. That one caught me off guard a little bit. There was some pretty big spots, but that was the spot of the match because I don't like.
And we haven't said ding fries are done in a minute, and you and I both said it.
Yeah, like it might have been 15 years since I pulled that one out, and that they were done. They were overdone. So that was I was actually pleasantly surprised with this match, and I really liked. I almost forgot. I almost let you move on, not to talk about the hot tag from R-Truth, forgetting the stipulations of the match, and pinning Finn Balor in the middle of the ring. He forgot the stipulations of the match, but made his own count, which I highly impressed. And so that I thought was really funny. Him getting a little bit of retribution from the Judgment Day was a big deal in my opinion. It's not how I wanted that to end. I don't know if it's over yet. We'll see kind of what happens next. But I really wanted to see a bigger blow off because they've been terrible to him, in the best kayfabe way possible. And I really wanted to see a little bit more from R-Truth to kind of get that retribution, have them as help, and they got their 30 seconds of glory, whatever it was, like 5 minutes in there, where they let R-Truth be the showcase. He got his Mania moment, and they told me it was his Mania moment because they have to tell me every time a Mania moment might be there, so I remember that it was a Mania moment.
I mean, I'm really happy that wrestler that you love finished his story and got his WrestleMania moment.
He got his WrestleMania. Oh, I want to see more out of R-Truth. Remember when he was a little kid watching John Cena, his idol, who he happens to be older than. That's what he was dreaming about.
I so badly want them just to bring him back. I know he's working for TNA right now, but man, do I want a segment, just one, before I die, where I get John Cena, Santino Marella, and R-Truth in the ring all at once. It's all I want in the world, because it's going to be R-Truth gushing over Cena and Santino Marella just calling him John Cena. You see, John Cena. And it takes certain people to be able to break John Cena. And the fact that those guys are the ones that can do it, like, I want both of them in there. I want to see this. That'll be my WrestleMania moment.
The other thing I do want to call out, I loved that A-Town Down Under won these titles as well. I think they really deserved it. They've been putting a lot of work in, and not to say that the other guys did. DIY, New Catch Republic, those are the ones. Like, you had New Catch. I think most people thought Judgment Day was going to lose this. The odds were definitely stacked against them, except for Scarps, who thought they were going to retain both titles. Because
he's always so wrong about everything.
Do you know what? I appreciated this pick. I gushed over it when he made it. I thought it was a great one to go for. Like, that's where telling me that you have to break them up and then subverting that expectation of having Judgment Day take down both of them simultaneously or not would have been a cool swerve that, like, no one saw coming. But a lot of these other guys that are in this match, even New Day to go for another round of this, could have been a really cool win. But A-Town Down Under have kind of been just jobbed out for no reason recently. And they've been made a little bit into a joke act, where they're both talented guys. A year ago, Austin Theory was defending the U.S. title against John Cena. So, like, what a difference a year makes in this situation. So I appreciated that they won this. I thought they deserved it. I would like to see them now flip the script, get that champion advantage here, where they go from kind of this joke to actually wrestling good matches and showing the skill that they have. I would actually like to see, and this will probably happen, they're probably going to, one of the first people they defend these titles against should be Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, because they've lost to them recently. So if you're the new tag team champions, these guys just beat you. You have to bring them in, because maybe Kevin Owens and Randy Orton should be the tag champions, and then have A-Town Down Under win relatively cleanly. Like, I'm sure there'll be some shenanigans that happen in here and their heels at the end of the day, but I don't want them to look weak when it happens. There's a difference, right? There's a difference between beating somebody and looking strong but shenanigans happening, or shenanigans happening and saving my ass because I can't shine your boots, let alone wrestling in a wrestling match.
Yeah. I could see them, and this is me reaching a little bit, especially with some of the stuff they've been doing, but they remind me very, very much, because they're kind of a team that was thrown together, right? Like, we weren't expecting this team to come about a year ago when Austin Theory was wrestling John Cena. Austin Theory was the anointed one at that point. Like, hey, we're just waiting until he gets a little bit more facial hair to put him in the world title scene type of thing. It's really what it seemed like. So this seems very much, I'm going to throw another team out there that they're very much reminding me of right now, especially the fact that they are a little bit more of a comedy gimmick, even though they're not a true comedy gimmick. Kind of remind me of the New Age Outlaws. They have that. They kind of have that, where Austin's got the Billy Gunn vibe about him, and Waller is definitely the talker between the two. And, you know, Austin has, like I said, Austin has the body, and Waller has kind of the promo skills, but maybe not the match credentials that Austin Theory has. So maybe that this is what they need. They need these two guys to kind of bounce each other off of each other.
I would like them to make it official. Like, they could be Team Prime with Logan Paul, sponsored by Prime Energy Drink, or whatever it is, not Gatorade. And So, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Listen, if you're going to put the Prime logo in the middle of my sacred mat, you better expect to get some shade here. So, but having those guys all together is kind of cool where they are now. I would like them to move them away from being like weird lackeys like they did on the SmackDown. We didn't really cover the SmackDown before Mania, but in that they send them over to the link to go jump Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, and then get outsmarted like a couple stooges. And like I just didn't appreciate it. I thought these guys should be taken a little bit more serious than that. It was funny if these guys were kind of losers, but they're not. They're actually very talented people.
Well, they got their titles. Let's see what they do with them next. I'm actually very interested in seeing where both these teams end up, which we'll go more into that when we're talking about Raw, but also who their first contenders are. I'm kind of excited to see who the contenders are coming out of Mania for all the titles. That's one of the things that I have interest in. But since we have cleared up that A-Town Down Under are the SmackDown champions currently, Awesome Truth are the Raw champions currently. Mr. Showtime is happy because R-Truth has his titles. He got his hot tag. We move on to match number 3. Rey Mysterio and Andrade versus Dominic Mysterio and Santos Escobar. This match was good. I didn't dislike this match. I know I'm not kind of gushing over it like the way I was gushing over Rhea and Becky, and I'm not necessarily, I don't know, panning it the way I was maybe the ladder match. But I liked this match. I thought this match was cool in the sense that they did some cool stuff in it. One of my notes here is that Pat McAfee is gold. I think some of the commentating that McAfee did during this whole show was just awesome. When he's talking about it not being that cold later on, and that Corey Graves and Michael Cole look ridiculous with their gloves and their hat on, and then he goes, "No, it is actually uncomfortably cold out right now." It's stuff like that that gets me. But this match was good. I didn't hate this match. Like I said, it was kind of mixed in there with some matches that it went from a really good wrestling match to open up the show to the train wreck match to this match, which just seemed like it was, I don't know, it sandwiched in there a little bit. I feel like placement might have hurt this match a little bit more than it did. I think I said this was one of the matches I could have seen going on night 2 instead, and being a better placement for it. It would have felt a little bit better.
I think this one was a bit of a casualty of storytelling because, the main event of both nights kind of took all of the storytelling liberties. There was like the Sammy Gunter match got a decent build. The Rhea Becky one got a decent build. The only two that really got a good build in the tag team match was the Awesome Truth and the Judgment Day. Even that fell and kind of went sideways at the end. No one else really. You know what? I'll give the triple threat, the Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and Logan Paul a decent storytelling because they didn't need too much. And honestly, the majority of it wasn't told by Logan Paul. It was actually told by A-Town Down Under because they were the ones that were in there getting their butts kicked by Orton and Owens a couple times, it felt like. So the rest of them kind of became a casualty of these really long segments from the Bloodline and from Cody, where there just wasn't enough time to do all of this stuff. This one particularly, we're just kind of thrown in there. I did not get this one correct. Neither did you. Only Scarps got it, but he chose Ray and Dragon Lee, not Andrade. So this doesn't count, right? We can.
I mean, at the very most, he gets half a point.
No, we'll give it to him. Whatever. But if I knew Andrade was going to be in this match when we made these picks, I probably wouldn't have went the other way. I don't think I thought higher of Andrade than I did of Dragon Lee being Ray's tag team partner. I like the swerve they did. I still haven't heard the reason why this has changed, like why it wasn't just this way to begin with. Maybe it was that they heard you that you wanted more shenanigans, and you got it.
Shenanigans.
I still don't know who jumped Dragon Lee. Like, no, they haven't talked about it. So I don't know. Really, no clue what happened there. This match was good. I enjoyed it. I think it was a nice kind of match for Mania. My biggest critique is I just want to see Dom win. I might be the only one out there that would like to see him win a match or two, because he gets all this nuclear heat for being this mullet wearing bad guy with Ray, and even this the heat between the two of them only just kind of reemerged the week before Mania, 2 weeks before Mania, where I felt like that storyline had kind of gone away. I know it wasn't gone, but it wasn't still hot from last year. And if you're going to have Ray beat him last year, I feel like, and you're going to have him face off again, give Dom the win here. Let's not bury him. I think, in all honesty, there was a couple people who got buried in this Mania where I thought it was just unnecessary. I don't think Becky got buried, and I don't think any of the tag teams got buried. A 6-team tag team match, anything can happen. Anyone can get up that ladder and win this. So like everyone comes out looking as good as they did going in there, except for maybe the Judgment Day because they had both titles.
And then they lost both titles, yeah. So,
but like even that, like the chips are stacked against them. So I think that, but this one, I feel like Dom's just kind of getting dumped on for no reason.
yeah, that's just where we're at, right? Like he's, like you said, this match kind of gets lost in the shuffle a little bit, I feel like. But little things I did take away. Again, these are things that I do look for. I really liked that Dom wore Giants colors. That was that was a nice little poke.
Oh yeah, give me that heel turn right there.
On the other side of this, the part I hated about this was the fact that Escobar was still wearing Eagles colors. It's especially since Ray was wearing them. I feel like the faces and the heel should not be wearing the same colors kind of in ever. And it's Mania. Like you knew what was going on. You knew this was the gear that you were picking for WrestleMania. So it's little things like that. Like you said, Scarps went over on this. Ray and Andrade win. I still think we should only give Scarps half a point because only half of this match was set up at the time. But like we said, it was a good match. I think the Joaquin Wilde getting slingshotted into the aisleway now, it was cool the first time I saw it, and it was even cool the second time I saw it. Now that we're at like 3, 4, or 5 times that I've seen this spot, it's not cool anymore. Even on Mania, it just didn't. It felt like, okay.
But that was a WrestleMania moment. I know this because they told me.
So funny story. You want to know who said it first, though? Joaquin Wilde is the one who said, "I want my WrestleMania moment," and he said it. You want to know the best thing that Joaquin Wilde has done other than that slingshot spot recently? Being involved in the promo where Dom said, "Oh, which one's going to be your tag team partner? The not Latin one?" Like
he's Filipino, folks.
Yeah, he is. So awesome, all around.
And then good shout out to Jason Kelsey and Lane Johnson coming out. You knew some Eagles had to come out in the lane.
Had to be. Which was cool. Again, Pat McAfee being gold, kind of fat, just saying who they are without saying who they were. Mm-hmm. We moved right from
boo.
I enjoyed. Hey, isn't that what's her face's husband's brother? So moving on from that, we have a vignette for the 4th match, which is the Uso twins facing off. I really like the vignette. I really like everything leading into this match. The match itself was good. They had I really liked the hot start that they had. The crowd was hot for this match. They all they were all on board with main event Jey Uso. Like you get 73,000 people doing the yeet dance, and that's kind of cool. I will say this: there was at least 16 super kicks. I say at least because that's the amount that I counted.
There were 0 super kicks because if you're gonna throw 16 of them, they're just kicks.
This match, me and Scarps got right. Showtime. Your reason for getting this wrong was because you just wanted to build a better story. I almost want to give you a point, but that's not how this works.
No, and I knew I was going to take the L there because I knew they weren't going to go this route. So here, I'm going to disagree a little bit with you based on what you just kind of said for this one, where you said you like the build to this story. I didn't like the build of the story because of how it ended. I was really, really disappointed in this. First of all, build up brother versus brother, twin brothers fighting each other at WrestleMania and giving them 11 minutes to tell the story. I get it. Apparently, they know one move, 2 if you count the splash, I guess. I just think this match should have been way better. I was really disappointed in this match overall. I thought it could have been really, really good. I mean, these two guys had to have been dreaming about this match since they were 3 years old. I'm assuming they had a wrestling ring in their backyard. So, given the family they were in, I don't know if you know this, but they're related to literally 50% of the professional wrestlers that have wrestled. The Rock showed me that family trait.
Only 50%?
So, I don't know. It's nice for me to remember. So, what my biggest problem with this match is the build-up. Because I think this absolutely buries Jimmy. And I think unnecessarily. Now, if you would have shown me the same love to Jimmy wrestling that Jay got, where Jay came out of this, and I don't mean to repeat myself from the actual prediction, but I'm going to do it anyway. The way that Jay was built, since leaving the Bloodline as main event Jey Uso, having the fans do his whole yeet dance the whole time he comes down there, believing that he's someone that could beat Gunther, but his brother screwing him out of that match is the only reason he wasn't the one that ended that reign, is a great build for Jay. They did none of that for Jimmy. I can't tell you the last time I saw Jimmy in a ring before this match. I don't remember when he fought last. If he's hurt or whatever, I'll give a little bit of slack if that's the case, but I don't think it is. And the fact that they haven't had him wrestle at all, they made him go a little bit more cartoony with his mannerisms and kind of being Roman's lackey. I stayed, Roman. I'm the one that was here for you. And they kind of took a bit of the bite out of him. And then in 11 minutes, he gets beat and he has to beg his brother off from kicking him, I don't know, a 17th time with a super kick. And those things were vicious. And if, for me, when he begs him off, if that would have been the moment where he turned the match around and then won, I'd be saying something very different right now. I still think that the match would have been, I would have expected more of the match. I just wouldn't be so disappointed in it. Because I like these guys. These guys are arguably the best tag team WWE's ever seen. I know I've heard people say that. And I think you can easily say top 10. The title reigns that they have here, just to get the naysayers, they're not these guys. Whatever, I don't care. They're great. And take one of them and propel them so hard, and where the other one just kind of gets left in the dust for what it seems to be no reason, is just a little disappointing, because they both are very talented people, and I'm I'm obviously a little sour about that, because I think that Jimmy drew the short straw for, I don't know for what reason, but it sucks to be Jimmy in this moment.
Well, and you very rarely see it with you could say the Steiners technically, but usually if brothers go off on singles tangents, they kind of keep them level, or to some point of level. Like you know, tag teams breaking up happens all the time. There's always a Shawn Michaels and there's always a Marty Jannetty, right?
But I
But
understand why Marty Jannetty didn't get the push and why he was kind of like pushed
yeah,
out.
exactly.
Because Marty's his own worst enemy.
Exactly. And on the other side of things, I mean, you could kind of see it even. So, like, I'll do a little bit more recent history then. The Hardys breaking up. The Hardys broke up, and both Hardys still did a lot of really cool stuff. Was the reason why Jay was, or I'm sorry, that Jeff in the Hardys was put into a world title picture was just he's got that it factor. He was the one that swooned. He was the one that did the swanton. He's the one that people wanted to see necessarily, but I don't see that in this situation. We could have gotten this where if Jimmy wins, we see him and Jay turn this into a real program. They wrestle until SummerSlam. We see them at least two of the next couple pay-per-views against each other in singles matches, and then have a blow off. You have that be a blow off into a Bloodlines rules match, or you have that be a blow off into something Samoan. Like we do something where okay, it's a cage, but it's a Samoan cage of some sort. I don't know, something, but you finally get that real blow off. Maybe even have one of them injure the other one. This way, when they come back, it's something
personal.
big. Yeah, it gets personal. Like, I can't believe you injured your brother. I could see that. I don't know. This match didn't do it for me. It was good enough to be on Mania. It got the pop it needed. I think if Jay wasn't as hot as he is right now, this match might not have had what it needed. And I think that was a lot of it.
I stand by the comment I made last time. I think that if Jay loses this match, it doesn't hurt him at all. I think that if Jimmy wins this match, it immediately propels him up to Jay's standard. The fact that Jimmy losing this, I think, just buries him. And like we talked about during the best matches of Mania history, the mirror match that Hogan and Ultimate Warrior had. Now, not that these guys are going to have anywhere close to the similar match as those two guys, but that's, in my opinion, one of the best mirror matches, if not the best, where it's move for move to just show how similar, how evenly set these guys are, and what a better duo to do it than with twins. And I don't know. Like I don't know. Maybe I just built this match too much in my head that I wanted a brother versus brother match. Oh, and the last thing I want to mention before we move off this one is the Taker and Kane are brothers. Stop telling me they're not brothers. I don't care what genealogy, whatever it is you're looking at, but in my mind, those guys are brothers, and they probably put on the best brother versus brother match there is. So stop telling me they're not brothers.
I mean, yeah,
They're brothers.
Of course they are. You know who else should have been on there, even though the only reason why they're not is because they never wrestled at Mania, and that was Edge and Christian. They're brothers too. Can't tell me otherwise.
Yeah, but that's not a Mania match. That one, exactly. I understand why it doesn't count.
Yeah, stop saying real brothers.
Yeah, stop it.
Stop it. So this moves us to... I'm sorry, before I go on to that, Jay won the match in case anyone missed that fact.
Yeah, and I got it wrong. But I stand by my principles.
So, real quick, before we do move on, I do agree with you. I think what you're saying storyline-wise would have made more sense if Jimmy wins. What I meant was this match, if Jay wasn't so over right now, which he is, let's face it, main event Jey Uso is over, regardless of what we think about 17 to 32 super kicks. That's the fact that he is so over is the reason why this match being on Mania doesn't not make sense. Like, that's why it makes sense. Mm-hmm. It makes sense having this match on there, because as much as Jimmy's been in the background, Jay has been in the foreground being a bright shining star. So it's weird having Jimmy get the rub off Jay, but that's kind of what's happening in this match, right? Like that's kind of what it felt like, even though this match should have been hot because the Usos possibly if not probably the best tag team in the last 10 years in WWE, were broken up and facing each other. That should have been enough to drive this story.
And having Jimmy go over, like, give Philadelphia a chance to really boo. I know there was some boos in this Mania, things on those lines, but you're in Philadelphia. It's partially your job to make those people unhappy. Just to really stick to them. And I don't see another opportunity on this whole show to do an upset that would really turn everybody upside down and get that real Philadelphia filth out there in the crowd.
Can you tell there's bias in the voice?
No, that's not even bias. Like I have my own issues with Philadelphia or whatever. The fandoms of rivalries that I went to school 10 minutes outside of Philadelphia, but they have a stigma about them, right? They are some of the most passionate fans that you can find, and they will let you know when they are unhappy. And this was your moment to hear from Philadelphia a reaction that you couldn't get in Dallas, Texas, or in New York City, or in Miami, or San Francisco. The Philadelphia faithful are a rare breed. And give me a spot where they could boo so loud that the stadium shakes. That's why you go to Philadelphia. Boo.
And as per usual, Mr. Showtime sides with the heels. All right,
yeah, I'm siding with Philly right now.
I said what I said. All right, moving on. Match number 5. This is the 6-woman tag match. Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, Naomi versus Damage Control. Not Io Sky, sorry. Asuka and Kairi Sane, the Kabuki Warriors, and Dakota Kai. That's what I have for this match. Sorry, I have hama. The match was once again exactly what I thought it'd be. I thought, you know what, Showtime, I'm gonna let you take this one first before I don't know what you're gonna say to it, but unfortunately, I'm gonna rip this match a little bit. And
I'm not going to rip it all that much. It was exactly what it was supposed to be. It's an 8-minute squash match. Like, that's all. Like, my problem with it is I think that there were certain people who were buried on this Mania that didn't deserve it, and the Kabuki Warriors are one of them. They're your female, they're your women's tag team champions, and they couldn't stand a chance against the new triple threat. Is that what that's all I
the new Dudleys?
But then I also saw.
I didn't know Big Daddy Dudley made it all the way to Jacksonville, but apparently.
Though I saw that same symbol on the Raw After Mania that'll come from a whole other team. So maybe that's just anytime 3 wrestlers standing in a ring, you just throw up 3 fingers.
You just throw up the 3 fingers.
But I mean, this match was exactly what I expected. I called who was going to beat who at the very end, and so I don't know. I don't know what else you wanted out of this match to do anything else. They want to protect Jade at all ends. I think they're going to build her to be the one that can actually stand toe to toe at Rhea eventually, because I don't know who that next person is for her. Because we talked about this in a previous episode where I was a little nervous on the world beater that is Becky, and when she ultimately loses to Rhea, who does Rhea believably lose to next outside of Ricochet? Like, we'll throw him out there, like, because I think that's where she can move into at this point in time, because there is, in my opinion, no woman on this roster at her caliber. Based on the way they've built this, there's no woman on her caliber in professional wrestling at this point in time that I think could come in here and beat Rhea based on the way they built her. So it's like they have to then build somebody else. And that, in my opinion, is clearly Jade Cargill. I could see down the road Tiffany Stratton being just the polar opposite of Rhea, where that would be a good storyline. But I think both of them are too young, too green, not ready to put on a match like they did in the beginning of this one that we were gushing over. If you want to go back, can we go back to that first match and talk a little bit more about it? Because apparently that's just what I want to do. That's what this has turned into.
That's
So I
that
don't
is
know
what
what
this is turning into.
Yeah, this is what this turned. So I'll pull myself back. I apologize. So I don't know what else you wanted out of this match. It's exactly what we thought it was going to be, and I hope they do some cool storylines with these guys in general. There was no story built up to this except for 1 week of introducing Jade and having her come in here and look super strong, which is what they wanted to do.
So I didn't want more out of this match. I didn't want more out of the actual match itself. I wanted more out of Jade. And I don't mean in the match. Jade comes out, and I've been thinking about this for days, obviously, because Mania was on this was on Saturday night, and we're recording a few days later. Where I'm standing with Jade is she comes out and immediately catches your eyesight. Obviously, she looks great. She's a beautiful, stunning Black woman with an amazing physique. She's with silver hair. Everything about her stands out immediately until she does anything. I hate to say it like this, but her just doing the double bicep is not going to get, like, I need more out of her. I don't care about her match as much as I care about her actual presence. And it felt like the second Naomi, and I realize that they're veterans, so maybe I'm throwing a little bit too much harshness, but Jade has been doing this for a minute. The part that she was doing better in AEW was star power. She came out, she understood the theatricality of it. The fact of the matter is, and I throw her in the same realm as much as I like him, Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes is not going to be as big of a star as Trick Williams is on the main roster. And Trick has the promo, he has the body, he has the look, he's athletic. I can teach him what he needs to do to have a proper match because he's already doing it for the most part. Carmelo, on the other hand, is a phenomenal wrestler. He has all the aspects to put the story together in the match. But when he comes out, his promos sound fake. They sound rehearsed. It's very similar to what I'm seeing with Jade, and even to the point where they both do the double bicep. And I think that the double bicep pose is like them being like, if I just do this really hard, it make me seem like my arms are getting bigger just in front of it, and that'll draw more people in. And when you have Bianca who draws attention, and you have Naomi who draws attention, and even the Kabuki Warriors who have their own type of flair for it. Honestly, the only person that didn't draw attention from Jade in my mind was Dakota Kai. Everyone in the match did the exact opposite of what they wanted for Jade in this match. And that's present her like a star. I think their entrance in the very beginning, yeah, they all look like stars. They all look amazing. The Japanese, the geisha girls for Damage Control, that was awesome. Then them looking like the Avengers coming out for the babyface team, also awesome. And then as soon as Jade comes out and she has to do anything other than just the bare minimum, I got lost on it. And I mean in the entertainment aspect. I don't mean in the wrestling aspect. The wrestling aspect is going to be what it's going to be. We've seen bad wrestlers that are still superstars, right? Like that's happened before. I need her to be a superstar. I need her presented. I think one of the biggest flaws with even in the opening was her coming out and not being in the center of the three of them. She should have walked down in the middle. And even when they were walking down, she looked like she was almost behind them. There's a lot of things that happened in that match. And again, I'm saying this because I want her to be a superstar. I want her, if, like you said, we want someone who can face Rhea. I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing this out of her. If it's going to be, I think that's part of the reason why I didn't want her and Bianca. I wanted Bianca and Tiffany originally for Mania. I think that would have been, if we got Bianca versus Tiffany Stratton, I think we would have gotten a show stealer match. Instead, we got this six woman match that gets buried on a card with 9 million stars on it. And that's why I think this also should have been on night 2. I think this and the Ray match would have benefited from being on night 2.
Yeah, I think Jade would have benefited from being one of those surprise people on the Raw after Mania, rather than introduce her right before Mania and then feeling like you have to fit her in. I would have, I'd have popped for a better match by all means. And I was actually really surprised that Tiffany didn't get a Mania match. Like, she wasn't here at all. Like, even
Like,
a
just
segment
nothing.
or something. Like, they're pushing her. So they put her over. They put her over Naomi.
A couple weeks ago.
Cleanly, a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
which I had a problem with that then too. But at the end of the day, what will always happen is if you push somebody too quickly when they're not ready, they will fail. So we'll have to see what happens. I have, like I said, I have high expectations for Jade. I would love to see her do really, really well. They felt like they needed to debut her when they did give her that Mania moment. I wouldn't be surprised if she kind of sunsets a little bit. I actually will talk about. I'll hold this thought for later.
So,
we all got this pick right, by the way.
So. Yeah, we all got this pick right. So Jade, Bianca, and Naomi win this match. Moving on to what a lot of people are considering to be the match of Mania. I think they are wrong, but the match number 6, the Intercontinental title between Sami Zayn and Gunther. The lead up to the match was good. I like that they're doing this sometimes. I like following one of the guys through the back through Gorilla. I would like to actually see them do it a little less.
It's Sami.
Yeah.
I've noticed it with only 2 people, and maybe I'm missing some of them. It's Sami, and then the first time I saw them do it for Kevin Owens, after he saw Sami, it was almost like Sami passed the that like pan.
Well, no, I saw them do it on Raw as well. Like, I've seen it on other shows. I don't know if it's always Sami, but it's always an interview that goes into that. And
I've only noticed it with Sami specifically, and I have noticed it a few times with him at this point in time.
Yeah. And I don't mind it. Like I said, so long as they're limiting it, because I do like seeing the full entrance. I think that's what a lot of people pay for, is to see the full entrances, especially on a Mania situation. I thought him walking through and having the moment with his family was really nice. I thought the moment with Chad Gable was really good, even if they just fully referenced Rocky 3 with "You Owe Me a Favor." By the way, this was his Rocky story, in case anyone was wondering that watched WrestleMania and didn't hear them say it was his Rocky story over and over and over again. They referred to Gunther as Ivan Drago. I did get the chills when Owens hugged him, though. And that was the point where I kind of jumped on board a little bit. It starts with the family, and then Kevin Owens telling him to go do it. That was really where it was at for me. I liked the match. I actually really liked the match. I thought the dynamic of the match was really good. This probably would have ended up being my match of night 1 if Rhea and Becky never happened. If that match even missteps a little bit, this becomes my match of the night. And the problem is match 1 was just perfect, and this was pretty damn near perfect, but I loved everything about it. I just didn't think this was the match of the night. It was great. It's probably my number 2 at this point, and a close number 2.
I had this critique last year with Gunther's match, and I think it might be that he just had so much pressure to showcase the chop that I'm just not a big fan of it being like so overused. I want to see Gunther wrestle more. Like, I was begging for a German suplex, and I got it right after I started saying that out loud. I was with a group of friends when we were watching this, so I was like, "Can I just at least get like a German suplex?" The dude's from Austria, so like let's get it. Or is it Germany? I thought it was Austria, but
I think he's technically Austrian.
Yeah, and I was like, give me, it's in the name. Like, give me some sort of wrestling move. I think that's my like critique for Gunter on why I don't absolutely love him, because I'm very high on him. I'm not trying to take much away from him, but I would like to see him wrestle. Like, and I almost like this. Here's your shot at that. I lost to Sammy. Something's got to change, even though I've had this epic the title run with the IC title. That maybe I need to get back to my roots a little bit more. Maybe I have to do that. Like, I would love to see that shift, and then I can eat these words later, and I'm cool with that. I'm cool with eating words later when I get what I want. so, uh, so that's the kind of the way I look at that. I thought this match was amazing. Probably the second best match of Mania, in my opinion. I know a lot of people said that they liked night 2 better than they liked night 1, but I think I actually liked night 1. I thought the better matches were on night 1. Those two. I think that the middle, the group we just got out of, was just kind of, it felt like slapped together. So you're coming out of like 30 minutes of kind of a low where it was, you set the bar so high, then you go low, and then you bring it back up for the next 2 matches. And I think they might have brought it down a little too low, in my opinion. So, but I love this. And again, I think Sammy might be listening to us here, because he called his buddy El Generico and said, how do I put down Gunther? And he said, probably in very plain Spanish. Is that what El Generico would do? And he tells him the brainbuster on the top turnbuckle, because that is an El Generico move, not a Sami Zayn move. And told him that's the way you put him down, and he did.
If you're gonna say it, please say it how Generico would have said it, and that's brain buster.
100%. I was setting you up for that.
I appreciate it. Thank you. That was a nice lob. To go with what you were saying though, the parts where they were wrestling and we saw some, I liked a lot of the reversals in this match. It really showcased, because they both had some really cool reversals for some of their signature moves, if you will, or at least some of their more frequently used moves. So it showed them both to kind of be students of the game in that sense. Like, say what you will about Sammy or Gunther, they're both supposed to be these amazing technicians a lot of times. And to be that good, you have to study. And I saw a lot of that. The ending, not just not just how the match ended with the win and the brainbuster and the huluva kick, the huluva kick in the corner, followed by the brainbuster, followed by the huluva kick to finish the match. The actual ending sequence of the match, not just those moves, the last 2-3 minutes where Gunther is just beating on him and yelling to Sammy's wife. I love that. I love that type of ending. I have it written down here. It reminded me, and again, this is one of my favorite matches of all time. It reminded me of Virgil versus $1 Million Man, when Virgil wins the $1 Million title. It was the ref isn't anywhere to be found, so I'm hitting these moves that I probably shouldn't hit. It had that like feel to it where I know this guy's down and I don't care, so I'm going to have them show me hitting 14 splashes at WrestleMania because this guy can't beat me. And it had that feel to it, and just him talking to his wife like, I'm going to do this again. You're going to have to watch me do it again. I thought that was, again, this is a really good match. And this is one of those matches that I also have this match was a lot of what I love about pro wrestling. The Rhea Ripley match, those two matches showcase what I love about pro wrestling. And if we sit here and just talk about those two matches, we could probably do this for days because we will gush.
My only just counter to that is that Gunther's whole thing is discipline, right? That's the whole the arms behind the back, stand straight up. I know this too because on the Raw after Mania, they told me that again. So, that's what they do here. They told me that that stance is about discipline. So, with that one, I was kind of like shaking my head in the moment, being like, this seems very out of character for Gunther to turn to the wife so often and not finish it. There's a difference between picking up the Dominic Mysterio, who is significantly below you in the way it's being built right now, in a match where Dom needs a good ass kicking, and I'm going to give it to him, compared to Sammy, who went through a gauntlet match as like the middle guy. A 5-person gauntlet match, comes in 3, wins it, beats 2 guys, or I guess he beats 3 guys to win that match, to be the number 1 contender. I don't know. It felt a little out of character, which I hope he has to reconcile. Like, I hope that's his storyline next. Like that he talks about, like, I didn't Sammy didn't beat me, I beat me, and now I got to figure out what I want to do next with this.
Which I think that could be a nice way for him to build up into the next level, because let's face it, he's, aside from a story, he's pretty ready for that world title, right? Like, I feel like I
I'm
wouldn't
just
be
curious
mad
how they're
about
gonna.
him being the world title. I just need a story for him to do it, right?
Yeah, like, I don't know where he comes in at this moment in time. Where, like, now it feels like there's too many people in the world title picture. Where before Mania it felt like there was only one person, 2 people in this world title picture, and now that we got 8 guys that could be world champion out of nowhere. So we'll see how it goes. For the record, we went from being unanimously correct to being unanimously wrong with this match, because all 3 of us picked Gunther. We should have known it was Sammy the minute that Scarps picked Gunther. I should have changed my pick then, but my thing was, I didn't believe that Sammy was the right guy to take this title off him, because when you get to a 666-day title run, I want the guy that wins it to need that boost, like that. Me beating Gunther will propel me to the next level, and I don't think that happened with Sammy here. I think Sammy was awesome beforehand. He had already done amazing things. He had already stopped a historic title reign the year before with the tag team titles, right? So when it kind of comes down to it, this is almost like Brock Lesnar breaking the streak. He didn't need that feather in his cap. Sammy didn't need this one to propel him to the next level. I just hope they do awesome things with him as IC champion.
I mean, there's a lot of cool combinations for him now, right? Like, we're gonna probably get Sammy and Chad Gable.
Yeah,
We'll probably,
we're getting Sammy Chad, I think, on SmackDown this week.
or is it gonna be in like a back room or like a training ring that no one sees, because he owes them that favor?
They talk about it. I hope they actually do that. That'd be awesome. That they do it at the Alpha Academy with no one around.
Yeah,
That'd be dope.
like if like they were in Philly, right? Like, they're right outside where the Monster Factory is. They can just go to the Monster Factory. It'll be fine.
It's cool.
It's fine. I'm sure Danny will let you in right now. So we go from there. Sammy wins the match. Again, big pop for that. I do agree. I think Gunther should have kept the title here, but they were going for some feel good moments, and they got their feel good moment for this.
I'm happy he won. Like, take all of the nonsense that we're talking right now and go back to a fan mode here. I popped for Sammy. Like, I liked him having his WrestleMania moment in the ring by himself. And just so you know, I misspoke. So Sammy is fighting Chad on Raw next week, not SmackDown. For some reason, I had SmackDown in my head, but that match is already
booked. Which also makes sense. They're gonna go right from that. We get a video package for the main event. As with everything with the video packages for the night, this was really well done. Caught everything up and made everything feel like it was big, as it should be. I really liked the video package. It's one of those situations where if all you're watching is Mania, even if you have a somewhat good idea of what the story is, you got caught up very nicely with that. And then we go into the main event of the night. we have the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, and the final boss, the people's champion. You know, I know he's the people's champion because he has a title belt. The
Hey,
Rock.
but say nothing poorly about the widow of Muhammad Ali. She can give anything, and that one she can tell me whatever she wants, and I'll listen on that front.
That's fair. Against Seth freaking Rollins and the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. I'll say it before you get a chance to say it, this match went way too long.
Way too long.
Way too long. This was, I think they could have done just as much with this match with 20 less minutes on it. And we would have gotten everything that we needed. And that's not including their entrances. I was fine with them having these epic entrances. I was expecting it. I popped huge for The Rock's entrance, actually. I thought it was exactly what I wanted out of...
It looks so cool.
It looks so cool. I love the fact that, you know, The Rock is coming down dressed like a Colombian drug lord right now because he's the final boss. It's everything's amazing about it.
That vest was dope. I even had to call it out. I really like the look.
I like everything about the beginning of this match. I like the fact that they did the ending that they did for the match. You know, Cody takes the pin. The match should have ended with Rock and Roman going over. That's the one that makes the most amount of sense for the story that they're telling. I'm gonna sound like a hater. I'm drinking my haterade right now. It's not Prime, it's haterade.
They're the same thing.
They might be. So I have this written here for my notes. I'm not sure if it's the cold, his age, or the fact that he is 9 million times the size he was even at the last real WrestleMania that he was at. The Rock was not moving at his best. And again, it could be a bunch of factors. It could be everything. But the match itself wasn't bad. It was just, it could have been half the length it was, and I would have gotten everything I needed. He kind of definitely saw that The Rock wasn't used to working in that situation anymore. I think that was a lot of the reason why he was never actually on the apron. He was always kind of by the heaters. And if you know what you're looking at, that's what you're looking at, unfortunately. And unfortunately for me, I noticed that because I know that's what's happening. So on my fandom side of things, my fandom brain turned off a little bit and I went back to my wrestling brain, which I hate that. On the other side of things, I thought the match itself gave you a lot of sympathy for Cody. I think it definitely set up a lot of stuff for Seth and Drew for night 2. The fact that they're both as beat up as they are gives them this uphill battle on night 2. Like I said, I don't hate the match. I just wish we got the concentrated version of it.
Yeah, so my biggest the second longest match in Mania history, and certainly shouldn't have been. There was a few, like, I liked this match a lot. I had a lot of fun with it. I popped. There was moments where I like to make like snide comments when I'm watching a match, and one of them was when Roman was, I think, pinning Rollins at one point in time, and Cody was in the ring. You could see the three of them, and I like to shout out, "Oh, but where's The Rock?" And then he pulls the referee out right before the end of the pin. Like you could feel sometimes when the guy's going to show up who you haven't seen in a minute. But 45 minutes for this match was just way too long, particularly when Rhea and Becky got 17 minutes. The Sammy and Gunther got 15 minutes. Like, if you look back at Mania past, the title matches, the best matches of Mania usually go about 22 minutes, 23 minutes. They usually get the nod. You can go over 20 minutes, and that's how you know that they made it and they deserved it, right? So in this situation for me, I really was a little disappointed on that you spent 45 minutes in this match where you could have taken 8 minutes out of this match, not even half, just like 8 minutes of this match, and throw it to those other guys to let them put on a 20-minute Mania match. I don't know what else Rhea and Becky could have done. They did 17 minutes perfectly. If you want to go back and talk about that some more, but
do you want to go back and talk about that more?
No, this was not worth derailing that much. The one thing, I didn't like how cleanly The Rock went over on Cody. That one kind of caught me a little bit. We're supposed to be building him up to win the championship the next night, which maybe he did if you didn't watch that. And you're using this to spoil Mania for you. But at the end of the day, I would have liked it to be a little bit more shenanigan filled. We got a rock bottom at people's elbow. He beat him as cleanly as you're going to beat him, essentially. So, which I know builds up stuff in the future. I think we're definitely going to get a Rock Cody match. Is it next year's Mania? Is it SummerSlam? I don't know, but it's in the cards at this point in time.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's at Riyadh. I wouldn't be surprised if it's at the King of the Ring, the Saudi show. That would be a cool.
When is that show again?
What is that? I think that's June.
June.
It's before SummerSlam. So I think you've got May, which is going to be Backlash, which is France, and then I believe you have the Riyadh show, which is it should be June. It's either going to be June or July, and then you'll get something. If it's not June, it's going to be July. So you'll have something in June, and then you'll have SummerSlam in August. Always, it should be the beginning of August now too. I think.
I just think with the Rock schedule, I don't think you're going to see him that early. I think that the earliest you possibly can see him is SummerSlam. He might not even make SummerSlam. So we'll see what happens.
Well, Rock and Roman go over. Again, they go over cleanly. There was just a lot going on in everything. In 46 minutes of match, there's a lot that's going to happen. But moving on, we get night 2. Hello, Legion of the Lariat. I do apologize this slight intermission, but we are actually going to cut this episode into 2 episodes. We will drop them both at the same time so that you can continue with our review of WrestleMania's Night 1 and 2, but we are only going to have Night 1 on one episode and Night 2 on the next episode. We appreciate you listening to every episode that we drop, though. Thank you so much.